It's Thursday. It's Thursday. Thank God it's Thursday. Is it Thirsty Thursday? Is anybody going out to get in the, you know what I'm saying? If you do, if you happen to go out, make sure you save a shot for your boy. But really quick, on a serious note, because I'm always perusing, looking at stuff, the news and everything. And just to clarify, I very, very, very rarely watch the local news. I rarely watch it. And, we'll get into that at another time as to the reason why I don't particularly care for the news, especially after I see things in the light I've seen it in over the last 10 to 15 years. But nonetheless, it's still informative, and we still, watch it to get whatever from it. And, I was looking and I saw that it was this young lady. Her name was Letitia Green, and she was based out of Detroit. And, just working at a hospital, and she was 40, and her husband, her ex-husband, his name is, hold on, let's get his name, Mario Green. He happened to come and, act like he was going to, their faces would be on the thumbnail. So he goes to the hospital and he makes the decision. It looks like he comes in with a backpack. So I guess he's acting as if he's just going in to drop off some stuff to her or whatever. And he goes in, shoots her several times, ultimately killing her, and then fleeing the scenes. 53-year-old man. Now, I don't know what happened. Only those two actually know what happened. Her cousins, her male cousins, one of them said that he already had a personal dealing with him to say, hey, listen, this is my cousin, cut it out. Also, it was reported she had already had a restraining order on him. And then one day after work, she was driving home and he tried to run her off the road. And the thing I think that's the most frustrating about it is that in a lot of these situations, you'll have where there's a woman being abused, and it's all too common where they don't want to say anything, and they don't want to say anything, and I get that, and other different situations, just like down in Atlanta, Kirk and Rashida, their daughter was allegedly being abused, and it was video of her being thrown around by her then boyfriend. Then she calls her brother over, and then the brother winds up killing the boyfriend allegedly. We also had one here in Philadelphia where a woman who ran a spa had allegedly had her husband who killed her a few weeks ago. And I get it, especially as a man, you get mad, you get angry. You feel certain things in you that may not feel good to feel that way. You get enraged because most times guys are taught, hey, listen, you better not come in here after you got beat up. You better go back out there and fight again. What you let him play you? You let her play you? And so I'll give you a story because, and I probably already told this story before, but I was dating somebody down in DC, and, we had been together for a few years, maybe 3 years at that point. And, we were both based out of Philly. And what happened was I said, hey, look, I'll do what I got to do because, I love you. I love you. So I'm going to do what I got to do. So I would drive, even if I had to be back at work by 9 o'clock the next morning. What I would do is that after work, I would drive down to DC. Sometimes if it wasn't the weekend, and I'd stay and just hang out, and I'd just be tired driving 2.5 hours back to Philly and getting to work on time, because, hey, listen, I love you. And one time when I was coming back home, I get back home and, I went out with some of the fellas or whatever, but I knew I was going to go back down because I typically would go down, maybe Saturday night, Sunday night, something like that. So it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm still Saturday night. I'm still calling, texting, no answer at all. So I go, and I remember I went to a Sunoco. Shameless plug, Sunoco. give her some gift cards. So I go to Sunoco, and I remember and this is back when you could still buy a paper before the internet was popping the way it is. So, and I remember I got an orange juice, and for those of you who know, a raisin bar. And I got right on 76 to 95, and I took 95 and I was driving in a cloud. And I knew that there wasn't something right with me, because at this point, I kind of felt like something was wrong, because I hadn't spoken to her in almost 2 days at this point, and it was unlike her, and I just knew something was wrong. So I got down there, and then I remember you had to get buzzed in. So I'm like, let me get buzzed in and everything. I said, because all of the guys at the front desk, we all talk football all the time, so they know me. So I get down there, I get buzzed in, and even when they talked, they tried to say hi to me. I was like, yeah, whatever. What's going on, man? All right. And it was like, my eyes were probably like this at the time, but I mean, hey, sometimes people just have a bad day. And I know they're probably wondering, like, damn, he's down here. It's like 8:10 in the morning. So I get upstairs and I just do a knock, knock, knock. I don't hear anything. Then I do a knock, knock, knock. Now I hear, because she had hardwood floors, so I'm now starting to hear the pitter patter of feet. Pat, 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 pat. So then, because I got my eye right to the you know what it's called, the eye deal, right? So I'm looking, and so now I see it gets dark. So now that means somebody's looking back at me, right? So I'm like, yo, such and such, open up the door. So I hear her now. Because now I start banging because I know she's in there. And so she goes and she calls security and says, my ex-boyfriend is at the door. She was trying to whisper it though. My ex-boyfriend is at the door. Can somebody please come up here and remove him? I can't believe y'all let him in, because I'm going to call the cops. And when I tell you, I felt the deepest hurt and the most rage at the same time. It's a weird feeling, because I went from almost like, how they do in the movies, like sliding down the door, to wanting to kick in the door. So after I put my hands on the door and I'm hearing this, I start punching the door. Then I start kicking the door. Now, mind you guys and ladies, I was 26 at the time, 27. So I'm at maximum strength. And when I tell you I'm kicking, then I turn around and start mule kicking the door. And then, after I got a little tired from doing that, and now all of these other neighbors are coming out and watching, what do? When I stop, I hear this, and no guy ever wants to hear this. Hey, yeah, I couldn't really hear what it was saying, but I knew that it was the bass of another guy's voice. And I thought to myself, wow, 3.5, 4 years, you moved down to DC, this is what you do? This is what we doing? And so now I turn around and I try to kick the door open more. And I didn't have any knife on me, any gun, anything like that. I was just going to use my bare hands and my brute strength just to prove my point. As soon as somebody would have came and opened that door, this guy could have had a gun, this guy could have had a knife, this guy could have just beat me because he could just beat me. But I was so enraged, we were going to find out that day. But keep in mind what I said. I was 26 years old. When I hear about 50-something-year-old men still having this type of rage, 40-something-year-old men, 30-something-year-old men doing this type of stuff to women, it's sickening, because at a certain point, and that's the reason why I told you that story, is because as a man, when you are dealing with a woman, there are certain buttons that women know how to push, whether they know it or not. There are certain things that can happen to make you react adversely. Doesn't mean that it's right, no. but it does mean that it does happen. So what do we do about it? We try to control ourselves. We try to act as men. And one thing that I try to do a lot, and I've done many times, is that that's why men need other men to talk to. This is one of the reasons why I do this, is because hopefully out of the over 150 times I've gotten on here to say something, hopefully something resonates with somebody out there, or that somebody can share with somebody out there to say, hey, look, dog. Hey, look, man, we all done been through it. Don't do that. Don't put your hands on her. And more importantly, don't try to kill her. Do you know how crazy that sounds? A man wanting to kill a woman? And even some people that might be listening, even if you have hit a woman before, you know that it's wrong. We all know that it's wrong. Me, myself, personally, I can unequivocally say I have never punched or slapped a woman. Now, maybe I've gripped somebody up to put them out the house or something. Okay. But I've never slapped or closed my fist to hit a woman. And does that make me any better than anybody else? No, because guess what? That's what's supposed to not happen. That's why you are blessed with more strength, way more strength than the average woman. And I don't subscribe to, well, if she hits you, you deserve to hit her back. Nah, that ain't me, dog. And whoever subscribes to that, that's on you. But you also got to understand that some people's daughters or mothers or aunts or whatever that you hit, there may be some repercussions that come behind that. Like even with me, with daughters or sisters and a mother and aunts, I'd rather somebody come to me and say, yo, dog, listen, I tried to talk to you, whatever, such and such, and we go from there. Now, we know most times it doesn't go like that. But then we go from there. And like I always say, there are 30 times more men in jail over something that has to do with a woman, as opposed to a woman being in jail for something that she did, arguing or fighting over a man about something. And I don't even know the statistics, but I don't even need to know the statistics. Men go crazy over their women. Men look at women as their possession. That's why when they get married, you take the man's last name. There's a lot of different things about it, but it doesn't mean that you kill somebody, that you stab her, that you shoot her, that you do certain things. You have to learn how to say, you know what? This situation just isn't good for me anymore. I gotta be out, man. I gotta be out. Because see, sometimes once a rage gets turned on in a person, whether it's a man or a woman, although women are less likely to kill, the consequences can be a guy trying to kill them, trying to kill you if you are a woman. And it's cowardly. Yes, I know. It's being a you know what, and you know. But the problem is that, and once again, that's why I explained that story. Once rage comes in, it's hard to tell a person to be rational. It's hard to tell a person, you know how it feels, right? You know how when you get mad about something, it's hard to tell somebody. This one young kid, 23 years old, down in, can't remember where it was at, a few weeks ago. He winds up, he's 23, he comes in the house, he sees he comes home early from work. Him and his girlfriend were already going through issues. He comes to the apartment because he has the key. He still lives there. But I don't know what the 21-year-old girl told the 40-year-old or 37-year-old football coach that she was in there messing around with. I don't even know if they were doing anything at the time. But the fact that this guy comes home, he's 23, he's young, comes home with a gun, and he kills the football coach. Because he's jealous that this guy, whether he knows that he's having sex with or not, but he's jealous over this guy that's inside with his lady. So, what can we all learn, even if we flip it on the other side? Ladies, of course, you never know how a person is going to turn out. But a lot of times, you know how that person is. And if a person is abusive to you early, 9 times out of 10, they will be abusive late. Now, we know, like I said, like even with me in the situation I described to you, and I'm going to finish the story for you because I almost got arrested. But I think about that story, and the reason why I tell it, and I've told it before, is because it could have gotten me killed. It could have had me wanting to kill somebody else. That's how upset I was. I could have lost my life. I could have not be sitting here talking to you now because I may have gotten 20, 30 years of my life taken away from me in jail. But I was so mad. I was so hurt that this girl that I put all of this time into was about to, well, she wasn't about to. Obviously, she didn't answer the phone for 2 days. So I'm sure they weren't sitting back reminiscing, talking about old times, right? But it could have changed the entire trajectory of my life. And see, some people don't get a chance to have that trajectory changed by them doing the right thing, or because 10 cops came out of nowhere and security asking me what in the hell was wrong with me to escort me out of the building that day, and took my ID and said, yo, don't come back for another half a year. So after I calmed down, I was smart. And I said, you know what? I'm never coming back. And I never went back. Because after I calmed down, I realized my life needed to go on, and it was more important things. I was still hurt like I don't know what, but life needed to go on. And it needed to go on with me trying to figure out whatever greatness with whomever I was going to be with. But it wasn't her. So ladies, please, if something's going on, let somebody know. And watch the type of people that you deal with. Sometimes you have people picking people because they like them, because they making certain type of fast money, because they're doing whatever, because they make a lot of legitimate money. But you gotta be the one that's always popping and on. Because yeah, you can be a guy that suffers from domestic violence, but most times guys don't die. But hey, you tell me what you think about it. You got a story like that? You got a story where you just blacked out and everything turned red to you? Oh, and by the way, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think I saw her maybe 1 or 2 times after that. I can never get over it, though. I can never get over it. And every time, if I'd have went back to her, the only thing I'd have thought about was trying to still get him, even though he ain't had nothing to do with it. But hey, you tell me what you think. And thank God I didn't do that. You want to know why? Because I get to continue to live life. Don't let life live you.